Similar to every other game that has come out in recent years, Skyblock does actually get updated. Whether that be a big update, a bug fix, or just some minor update like a simple new enemy that gets added, there's always updates being put into Skyblock. And recently and always, we get leaks or teases of every single update that the admins are making. I don't think they've ever released an update without any hints at what it is beforehand, and I wanted to talk about that in this video because there's a lot of different leaks for different updates, some that could come out in years, some that could come out literally tomorrow. We never know. So if this video helps keep you informed on the updates that are coming in Hypixel Skyblock, I'd really appreciate a like or a subscription. But before I talk about the updates coming to Hypixel Skyblock, I want to talk about another game that I'm sure you have heard of before. It's got PvE, it's got PvP, and no, it's not Minecraft, it's Raid Shadow Legends. That's right, this video is sponsored by Raid. If you have heard of Raid, you know it's got a ton of champions, over 600 now, but it's also got an insane variety of bosses. Let's look at one of these epic gamer bosses right now. This bad boy is the Dragon. He's one of the bosses from Raid's dungeons. Yes, Skyblockers, you heard it right. Dungeons and dragons are in this game. It's basically the same. Also, the dragon can eat you, so that's kind of frightening. But there's also a ton happening in Raid this month. They're bringing out 5 awesome new champions, overhauling the champion vault, and they've got loads of awesome smaller updates as well. On top of that, Raid's running a huge series of summer splash events for the whole month, where you can get your hands on some incredible skins for everyone's favorite dwarf, Trunda. Oh yeah, and in August, they're adding this guy, Ultimate Death Knight, so join if you want to be a part of that. This is the best time to get started in Raid, and if you click my link in the description or scan my QR code here on the screen, you'll get unique bonuses worth $30. We're talking about the epic champion, my boy, Rector Drath, 200,000 silver, 1 energy refill, 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard. Dude, that's a lot of value. Just download via any of my links and your treasure will be waiting right there in the top right. Thanks again to Raid for sponsoring the video, and now let's talk about some juicy Skyblock leaks. First thing I want to mention in this leaks video is the Runecrafting table that got leaked by Jacob Ruby. I'm mentioning this first because I actually made a whole video on this. I'm going to link it right now. It's a pretty good video, just goes over exactly what's going on, but it looks like we're getting some sort of table for Runecrafting, and that is a thing. The next thing that I want to talk about is the most requested thing in my comment sections whenever I make a video on updates, and that is the foraging update. We know that a foraging update is in the works, and it should theoretically be the next major update. In AlphaNet, a new way to test Hypixel Skyblock updates, there was a bunch of things talking about the future of Skyblock. They talked about the plans to revamp an old classic island, i.e. the Blazing Fortress. They also talked about releasing the Crystal Hollows, and the one other update other than 1.0 that they mentioned in there is a new foraging island. Obviously, in this forum post, it says it's coming later in 2021. Halfway through 2022, we haven't seen a new foraging island, but there are also other reasons to assume that they're working on a foraging island. Recently, on a forum post that someone else made just about a mining update that they designed themselves and worked on with a lot of words and just a lot of stuff. It was a pretty high effort forum post. Don Pereso actually came in and was just talking about how this was a great idea, but mining is pretty bloated. He said that they're going to focus on something else in the game, and while he can't give it away, it's something that's growing on them. Now, there are pretty much only 2 things that could be growing in the game, and that is crops or trees. And I'd be willing to bet, knowing that a foraging update is coming soon-ish, that they are working on the foraging update right now. So that is something that we may see in the near future. Based on the skills thread when talking about 1.0 that J. Varman made, I would bet that the foraging update's going to be something very, very similar to Dwarven Mines, but for foraging. It seems like they really want to put skill trees and Heart of the Mountain style progression into other skills, and I honestly am in love with that idea. I loved the Dwarven Mines and Crystal Hollows as updates. I love foraging as a skill. Combine those two, it's basically the greatest update of all time. So I definitely think that the foraging update is the most hyped thing that is coming in the future. The next batch of info that I want to talk about is all pertaining to Skyblock 1.0. It's going to come from the threads that we're going over, features that are coming in 1.0, but 1.0 features have already been added to the game at this point. The new armor pieces in the equipment slots, the museum, a bunch of things from those threads have already realized themselves into the game. So I feel like it's fair to go over now because we don't know if they want to release all the things they've talked about sooner rather than later, or if these things are going to come out in 2054 when 1.0 finally releases. In sticking with the "it's growing on them" kind of theme, I want to talk about the garden. The garden was a feature that was described in, I believe, the skills thread for 1.0, and it basically boils down to a private island that is specifically for you where you can just farm. They think that building these massive farms is ugly and a waste of time for a lot of people. I don't really hate building farms myself, but I can see how it excludes some people from the game, because if you're trying to get farming 60 and you have to build infinite layers of farms as a new player, that's not really the greatest thing. So the garden is basically just a public island style build, but it's private to you and you can farm materials on there. They said that hopefully you could optimize routes, and I'd assume that you can get gold medals on there, because otherwise what's the point in having it? But that is the other thing that could be growing on them that they could be working on right now. A thing that I think is going to be coming more soon is Skyblock levels. Skyblock levels is something that currently we can only see in the museum, but this is a way of tracking player progression that isn't just with the outside sources like weight or skill average. It's going to take every aspect of progression in the game and combine it together into a number that determines how good you are at the game, pretty much. They've talked about this multiple times. Originally, it was believed that they wanted this to come out before the Nether update, but now in the Nether update post that was made on April 20th, they said that one of their future plans is to start working on Skyblock levels and other 1.0 features. Other things from Skyblock levels could be some more stats, some more quests. We know that there are going to be quests in the museum rewards eventually, and I mean, you can see that the majority of these rewards are XP, so the quests could be added in that update as well. We don't know a huge amount about Skyblock levels because there's really not a huge amount that I'd assume has to be known. It's just a progression tracker that will probably give a little bit more stats, and that's probably going to come out within the next couple months. Couple things that are obvious but are coming out and have been teased by admins. One, Kudra rework. We know that they're changing this fight. We know that the cannons are not fun. We know that we need more tiers. So what they're going to do, they're going to make more tiers. They're going to make the fight more fun. It's going to be better. And the one other thing on the Nether Island that for sure is being worked on and will come out is the other dojo game. If you didn't know, there's one dojo game that literally still doesn't exist. The Test of Control is not in the game yet, and you have to assume that's going to come out at some point, because while it is possible to get the black belt right now, it is very difficult without a whole extra game of points. So those are things related to the Nether Island that I feel like are pretty obvious, but are definitely still coming out. Next up, let's talk about some Minikloon things, because Minikloon is always just tweeting pretty much quality of life features or just slightly small new things that he's working on, and I swear these things never come out. In April, Minikloon tweeted out a picture of a buy it now auction that has a 20-second grace period, so if you put something up for the wrong price, you could take it down pretty quickly if you noticed, and that was in April. We still haven't seen anything come of that. Another thing Minikloon tweeted is lost treasures from dungeons. Let's say you do a dungeon run, you drop a Necron's handle, and at the moment you can't afford it. Well, you can see in this screenshot, it saves those treasures for what seems like a week, and you could have the chance to buy it for the first time if you get the money later on in that week. So that is something that is coming out probably, but it was in May when we got that leak. The last and most recent leak from Minikloon is the Capsaicin eye drops. These are going to be an item that you use on Inferno minions. You can see you right click them and it's going to boost the chance of creating unique drops from hypergolic fuel by 30% for 24 hours. We don't know how you're going to get Capsaicin eye drops, but this is just trying to desperately fix the economy for the Apexes and Vertexes and the Peppers. All of the items from the Inferno minion basically don't exist and are way too expensive. So so this item is coming out to make Inferno minions suffer as much as you did. In what I believe is the last of just Twitter leaks from different admins, we're going to look at dirt fishing. Landon, who is a newer dev to the Hypixel team, tweeted out a video of him fishing up a dirt block from dirt. We don't know if they're actually going to implement this as a feature. I know that they worked on lava fishing long before they actually got it released in the game, and you never know if the dirt fishing is just them testing what they can make or if it's an update that's coming soon, but the technology is there and they could theoretically do it if they wanted to. The last two updates that I want to talk about are kind of tinfoil hat updates where the sources that we have on them aren't amazing, and we have no idea if these are actually being worked on because they are super weird updates. The first one I want to talk about is the moon. So during the Crystal Hollows alpha, a glitch made people go to an unfinished map that was learned to be the moon by a sign that says the moon is property of Gru and Remy. This map was sprawling. It had a bunch of builds. As I said, it's unfinished, but it seems like this was a Skyblock update because Remy built dungeons things. He built a bunch of things related to Skyblock, and yeah, the moon. A similar leak like this happened when 30 Virus was trying to load onto an island, and then he just ended up in the mist of the Dwarven Mines, which was not out at the time and wasn't even known of at the time. So this isn't super duper out of the ordinary. If the moon is being worked on, I'm gonna have to guess that it's coming with the actual release of 1.0, because from the looks of it, this island was huge. If you can even call it an island, it's a whole freaking moon, dude. So I don't think that something like this would just randomly release. I feel like this would definitely go toe in toe with Skyblock coming out of the prototype lobby, or it's foraging. The Dwarven Mines, of course, were not out at that point, so it's not super out of the question to say that this moon leak is real, but we have no idea if this is being worked on. If it is being worked on, we have not officially heard anything about it. Maybe it was scrapped, maybe it was turned into the Nether Island with the ideas that they have from it. We literally don't know right now. If I had to make any guess myself, I would say with the official release of Skyblock 1.0, we're going to get the moon, because that is just a huge kind of island to just randomly add to the game. And if it came out when the game was moved out of the prototype lobby, that would make just a little bit more sense for such a gargantuan island. Last one I want to talk about, I don't have like any screenshots for. I looked through my computer to find them, couldn't. They're not on the Cowshed, they're literally nowhere, but you just gotta trust me. Everything I'm gonna say is legit, and it did happen. So Skyblock Nerds is a Discord where the admins basically put out balancing questions or put out ideas, ask people for ideas on what they should do for the next update, and a bunch of people who are qualified by either having very creative brains or very good Skyblock stats are in there, and they're like, yes, this is good, here's what you should do, blah blah blah. So that Discord exists. A Cowshed staff member is actually in there. His name was Motor. Motor posted a message in Cowshed and said, hey guys, Minikloon said I can share this, and we're doing a competition in Skyblock Nerds for who can make the best fishing update. So send me your ideas so that I can make a good fishing update and win the contest. This was quickly deleted. Apparently he misunderstood what Minikloon meant when he said he could share it publicly or something. I don't know the exact situation, what went down right there, but moral of the story, we know that they were working on a fishing update and were basically asking around for ideas. Another thing that happened, and I still have no screenshots for, is in the guild that Doctor is in, Lost in Space, he had talked multiple times about working on a fishing update with Minikloon. He talked about just things like underwater mechanics, treasure being better, sea creature chance being capped at like 50. This was all in about October to November of 2021. So this was a long time ago, and we have not heard a single thing of it since. The reason I believe this might be tinfoil hat to even talk about is this update totally could have been canceled, because we do know that fishing has to get updated to go to level 60. That's obviously something that has to come within the progression of the game, because there are other skills at 60, and eventually every skill should be at 60. So it makes sense that fishing would get an update in that regard. But we just got trophy fishing, we just got Jobus, Thunder. Fishing is similar to mining, a pretty bloated skill when it comes to recent updates. Obviously, Crystal Hollows came out after Dwarven Mines already released, so it's not super unprecedented to update a skill twice in a row. But we haven't heard a single thing about the fishing update in a long time. So I'm starting to doubt if it's ever going to come, but maybe, just maybe, they are working on something for fishing. So all the people who have been so starved for fishing content for 3 long months can maybe get something. That is basically all of the leaked updates worth knowing about in Hypixel Skyblock. I did skip over a bunch of different 1.0 features because those are all very well documented in threads. I can leave a link to Jay of Armin's thread down below, along with my Raid Shadow Legends link. Thanks again, Raid, for sponsoring the video. But go read the 1.0 thread. It's all very good stuff and is stuff that eventually should come out into the game. But let me know what you're most excited for in the future of Hypixel Skyblock. Is it the moon? Is it foraging? What if it's both? What if the foraging update is the moon? That would be absolutely insane. But that's going to be it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out.